should I go?
Welcome one and all to the PSDOVITO podcast. This is podcast number 5. I am Bert DeVito and this is Robert Rage, although he looks a bit like a short, fat version of The Undertaker when he was the American Badass. And you can't see him, you can see me, so we're here. Right. So, this podcast, we was thinking about talking about several things. But we haven't actually got a subject to talk about, so I'm just going to shoot Dan in the eye. And then we're going to say, I reckon we should go for a random conversation podcast, Dan, to be honest. I'm just going to kick it off with, I decided to watch the Hell in a Cell the other day. I've watched WrestleMania.
Don't forget Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, WrestleMania.
And
Now talk
SummerSlam.
about the Undertaker matches.
Ah, yeah.
Undertaker, Lesnar.
Okay, yep.
They're the only reason I've watched WWE this year. To
same
here. To see how Undertaker got on.
Yeah.
First two I weren't overly impressive. This one I thought was alright. They've done the job, told the story. I thought they'd done alright considering Undertaker's old man and all that. What was your impressions of that Hell in a Cell match?
It isn't their best match they've ever had. The best match they ever had was their first Hell in a Cell match. Obviously when both men was younger, you know, Lesnar was basically in his prime and Undertaker could still go. But out of the trilogy, you know, WrestleMania, SummerSlam and Hell in a Cell, this was definitely the best out of the three. Like WrestleMania, Undertaker looked like he was half dead. Like he looked really fucking unhealthy. And then SummerSlam was just a complete load of wank with the ending and just too many false finishes and all of that. This was done right in terms of you still had that bullshit, I can't stand it, false finishes and all that, but it's one of them things you kind of have to expect these days with WWE in every single match. Fuck off.
Mate, you're always going to get false finishes, but you're talking about the finishing moves.
Yeah, that's it, yeah, exactly, yeah. But it's in every single match.
But mate, that's been going on since Kurt Angle
I know.
days, you know, where it was like, that's when it really started to get boring for me. It was Kurt Angle and like people like that just doing their finishes, kicking out from doing each other's finishes. And it's like, and now you have to hit your finishing move fucking 3 or 4 times before it actually works in the majority of matches.
Yeah. But yeah, that was definitely the best out of the three for me. I can't help but feel though that overall Undertaker looks weak as fuck in terms of like losing the first match. Second match was like he should have won cleanly, really. And then third match gets pinned cleanly. It makes Undertaker look weak as fuck and makes an already strong Brock Lesnar look even more strong, which I suppose is the point, but I don't know. I just think with that second match, Taker should have won cleanly.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have done. At least could have had a better ending than the ending it had. That was ridiculous. The ending that was on it.
Yeah, it was. Fucking yeah. A couple of bad endings on that night.
But that's a big part of why I don't watch WWE, mate, because a lot of it is that way.
Yeah.
And it has been for a very, very long time. So, right, talking about Undertaker then, you didn't actually see the Kane match.
I didn't know.
In a cell, but I did. Now, all due respect to Kane, I think, you know, guy's had a very, very good career. Well, he's been around for a long time, which is a good career. He's made a lot of good money out of it. I think he's good at what he does. He's still good at what he does. You know, you can put him in there with the majority of people and he'll have, well, put him in there with anyone, he'll have a decent match. Put him in there with a lot of people, he'll have a really good match. But for a top guy, a guy to be in a world title match, Kane has not got what he needs to do that anymore. He's slower, he's not as coordinated, things don't come off as well as they used to, you know. It's like, I like Kane and that, he's you know, a lot of respect for the guy, but he shouldn't be main eventing or shouldn't be in a title match.
Absolutely not. And it's kind of that thing we touched on a wrestling podcast, our first wrestling podcast, where it's bringing in the old guys and putting them in big matches. You know, it's desperation, man. It's pure desperation.
Yeah, because they can't create.
Seth Rollins should be wrestling people like Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler was in a 6-man tag, I think, at Hell in a Cell.
That to me would be a good match, because I like both guys.
Yeah.
It would be better if it was at an independent show where they could just go out there and have a wrestling match without all the bullshit. But in terms of a WWE match, I believe that would be quite good.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think of that Cesaro geezer though? I think he's the sort of guy that they could start pushing towards the main event.
He's definitely got the ability, the strength, technique, but I think the one thing that might hold him back is his personality. I like Cesaro a lot, and I would love to see him get that spot. But the thing with WWE is they miss the boat a lot with people, man. They push them so far, fans are getting behind them, and then for some strange reason they stop pushing that person. I mean, I know like wrestlers do drugs, and not every wrestler obviously, but I know certain wrestlers do, and that obviously affects their career and how far they get in the business. But someone like Cesaro, you know, for me, I don't really care about personality. It helps obviously, but I don't watch wrestling for that. I watch wrestling for wrestling, a great wrestler, and Cesaro's got that potential.
Yeah, I think he has. I think he should be. And you say about personality, but then you've got like Triple H dick face. He's had a 20-year career, and the geezer has got the personality of a rotten potato. He's got absolutely zero charisma, and there is nothing about him. Obviously, it's very different, the reasons why he's been so successful and been on top for so long.
Triple H is Triple H is the luckiest professional wrestler ever. Pure and simple. Luck. It was
luck.
It was
luck,
DX
hanging around with the right people.
Exactly. You had DX, which had Michaels, That's it. That's all you needed. It didn't really matter about Rick Rude or China. Don't get me wrong, Rick Rude probably taught Triple H a few things, so I'm not denying that at all. But
Rick
the
Rude
fact,
did add some attitude to that faction, though, just to,
yeah, yeah, of course. And it isn't just Michaels and Rude. It's Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Them two guys have got a lot to do with why Triple H is where he is today.
yeah. Well, I think Triple H is a smart fucking cookie, because he knew that if he carried the bags and drove the cars and the vans for these guys, you know, he would be in with them, and that's what's happened, and that's how he's, you know, pretty much got where he's got.
Oh yeah, that's it. He paid his dues.
But I mean, that's different. That's like I say, he's got fuck all personality or charisma or nothing.
And he's an overrated
But he's still
wrestler.
been on top. But it's been a different way. But there's other wrestlers. Roman Reigns, has he got any personality?
Oh no, I can't stand Roman Reigns.
And weren't he like champion or whatever? I don't watch WWE much, so, but he's been main eventing at least.
Main event at WrestleMania, but last WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar.
Which I thought was a good story, a good match. I thought that is exactly how I would book Brock Lesnar for the majority of Brock Lesnar's matches.
Yeah,
Would just be to fucking destroy people.
yeah.
You know?
That
And
is
I
how he's
thought
booked most of the time.
Yeah. And I thought that was good. That match for what it was.
But that's something they needed to do. Like Roman Reigns needed that match, really. You know, to build that sort of respect with fans like me and you. Because he got suplexed a shitload of times in that, and they're not fun.
Oh, he took a kick in, mate. He took a pasted.
Yeah.
He took more bumps than the geezers.
But I still can't stand the fella. And I hope he never wins the world title.
I honestly don't care who wins the WWE title. I've got real no...
Oh, no, I don't really, but I mean, still, I don't want to see him with it.
Again, wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't care if Eddie Guerrero's wife had it. Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be bothered who had it if Hornswoggle will come out with it. That's about the value that's on that championship. You know, Seth Rollins is good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying his work is not valued, but the title, what's it really fucking mean these days?
Well, I think it has its moments in time. Like when Punk had it. That's when the belt meant something. And then that all went to shit when The Rock won it. So, you got a guy building a belt, making it mean something, and then The Rock comes in and goes, I'm going to beat him for that. Or the company, whatever.
Well, it's only a set up so John Cena can beat him for it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know that, but it's just like a year and a half or something stupid like that. CM Punk had it for, if not longer than that. It's just
money, mate. Listen, that was what it was about. Was making the most money they could out of the WrestleMania match, and John Cena Rock for the title is a big money match.
yeah, I know. Would have rather seen it go another way.
Mm.
But then that's the sort of thing where you think, well, The belt don't really mean fuck all. It's just there to look pretty.
It's like the title matches. How often are they in the middle of the card now? Like, or you know, they're not the actual main event.
A lot.
It's happened a number of times. So, Samoa Dan, WWE 2K16.
Oh yes.
Looking forward to it?
More than you know. The last wrestling game I played properly was 13. I had 14. I played that a bit. You gave me 15. Wasn't really interested in that. So it's been 2.5. So between 2 and 2.5 years since I've properly played a wrestling game.
Yeah, well, it's kind of went downhill a bit. 15 was like really bad, but the way I looked at that was 2K had just taken over, and they had to get used to the game engine. They had to do different things, you know, they had to make the game theirs and change it, and I don't think they had enough time with WWE 15.
It was doing it for both consoles as well.
Exactly, and I don't think they had enough time to be able to do it properly. It's like what we said with Little Big Planet about Media Molecule, and now it being Sumo Digital. I don't think Sumo Digital had enough time. Like,
yeah.
But you on Little Big Planet 4, I reckon they'll have it pretty good. But it's the same with this. It's 2K took over, and I just don't think they had enough time to develop it properly on 15. But they've had WWE 15 was their practice game.
Yeah, yeah.
Now 16 should be the one that shows what they're capable of and what they can do.
Absolutely. I still think, I don't know, I think it's going to be 17 that'll be the one. I'm still really looking forward to 16, and I think it'll be brilliant, but I still think there's improvements. There's always improvements. It's just the way it works.
Well, I don't think this one's going to be it, because as far as I can tell, it doesn't have create a story mode on it. It's got something like story editor or something, like you can do something in universe mode, and I think you may be able to do like the bits before, after the match, and you can decide whether there's a run-in or... I don't know how it works, but I don't think the create a story that we used in YTWE, I don't think that is on this game, which is gonna be a problem for a lot of people, I think, because that was a very popular feature.
3 letters, DLC.
Yep, could very well be DLC. Could very well be, and I think they'd be stupid not to do it, because if they did release it DLC, I know that, like, I'd get it, because it's a feature I want, something.
Yeah.
You know? That's something we use for the YTWE to create our stories, our back scenes. I mean, I don't need tons of stuff, you know? An interview in the ring, a man standing in the ring on his own, a couple of guys at the commentating table. I don't need massive amounts of stuff, you know, but
yeah,
still would like to have that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because as it stands, YTWE 18 plus, when we come back in November, is the format we're going to possibly look at is literally just doing matches where it's a 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 matches, and to just have it from bell to bell with commentary, and to tell the story through the commentary.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle.
But I think it depends what the story editor thing is that you can do with it, and how much you can do with it is really going to show what we can do. But I think I think in some ways cutting out all that bullshit, all that WWE storyline bullshit, and just having matches, it's going to feel more like an independent show, you know? Obviously they still run storylines and they still have stuff on independent shows, but the majority of it happens in the ring.
Yeah. I think there'll be some stuff we'll be able to use, but it won't be as in depth as is it 13 or 14? Or both?
13 and 14 were decent for the story mode. We started YTWE on WWE 13.
Yeah.
Chris handled some of that. I don't know if I did much on 13, but I know I took over on YTWE definitely by WWE 14, and yeah, I used the story editor a lot, but to be honest I was starting to exhaust its resources. I was like, you know, I started doing crazy stuff because there wasn't much normal stuff left to do.
Yeah.
But I did kind of exhaust that. But I only really want the basics, like I said, an interview in the ring, someone in the ring on their own, a couple of people at the commentary table, just so you can see me and Vlog above commentating, you know, like, or talking, like, in a build-up to the next match or whatever. But I don't know, I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's got the largest roster ever, over 100 wrestlers, I think.
Yep.
And there's a lot of good wrestlers on there. There's a couple missing. There's one very important one missing, Mr. Perfect, but it has got Brian Pillman on it, which is good.
It's got Lex Luger in it as well, but
yeah, well, we can always put his attributes to 0 and beat the crap out of him, can't we? Repeatedly. We'll put him and Dickface in a tag team. And then we'll play as Hornswoggle. Kick the shit out of both of them, record a video and upload it. So Triple H can go, oh, don't show me being vulnerable.
yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that's one we got to do.
But, I know, we've got your Terminators. Well, I have, so I've got the pre-order, so I've got a couple of Terminators to play with.
Good for you, mate.
Complete with his entire moveset of one punch that doesn't really look like a punch. It's like a weird backhand fist. It's the only move I've ever seen Arnold do in WWE.
Yeah.
Sort of just stands there and like swings his arm out to the side or whatever. It's like one of the weirdest fucking, for a geezer that's done so many action movies and fight scenes. That's got to be one of the worst wrestling punches I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Although it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, so we'll let him off.
That's it.
Alright, we've got WWE 2K16 coming out tomorrow, and that is going to take up a vast amount of our time. Obviously, we'll be creating the guys for the YTWE, but what other wrestlers are you looking forward to creating on there?
Loads. Fucking hell, Bert. Got like 100 to create. I don't know, there's all the well, I don't want to say any names, but you know what I'm talking about.
No,
you know,
British wrestlers.
Oh, British wrestlers.
Is that who you were talking about? Who was you talking about?
I was talking about...
Oh, our characters.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
But for British wrestlers, oh mate, it's like an endless list.
Alright then, alright. Seeing as, like, I don't know if we play it or whatever, I don't know how it's going to work. If we get a show each, I don't know how the online, if it's going to be a one match deal or whether we'll be able to do Universe Online. But just for argument's sake, say you could do Universe Online, and you had to pick 10 British wrestlers, right?
Right. Who would they be? Right. Obviously, that was the next question.
Yeah.
Willow Spray. Paul Robinson. Jimmy Havoc. The Geezers. Doug
Five.
Williams.
6.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, well done.
Mighty Skull.
Yeah.
Dave Mastiff.
Yeah, good call.
And Laser Lagden.
Ooh. Yeah. Good list. Good list. I would have said Zack Sabre Jr. first. But
I know, it's because you fancy him.
I think Zack is, without a doubt, probably the best technical wrestler on the planet. I know other people call him that, but I've said it for a long time that he is the man. I've said it for a long time. And it took a few other people a little while to realise it, you know? But Zack is the man. And you won't get a better technical match out of anyone else in the world, I don't think. But,
Well, I'm not going to argue with that, mate.
yeah, you definitely, that's a good list for 10, mate. I mean, there are so many good British wrestlers to choose from. It's difficult.
Go on then, what would your 10 be?
Mate, the 10 you just picked, I don't really have that 10. But, I mean, you got loads, mate. There's like, you got to look at the up and coming guys, and you know, there's some of the older guys that are still about. Like you did pick Doug Williams on there, you know, that's like one of them. But I like, you know, El Ligero, I think should be on that list. But it's so hard when you try to narrow down the talent in British wrestling to just 10.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know about that, you know, you got Chris Travis, Martin Kirby, Rampage Brown, Nathan Cruz, Jack Jester, you know, there's just so many all up and down the country talented guys. It's so hard to just narrow it down. And Tyler Bate, he's one of the younger guys coming through, and he is awesome. He is one of my favourites to watch out of the younger guys. Even, you know, he'd have a great match with the older guys as well. And another one, Jack Gallagher, he's really, really, really good as well. I'd love to see Jack Gallagher, Tyler Bate one-on-one. Jack Sexsmith is good. Really love the way he plays his gimmick. But like, it's not the same, mate. You go through loads of British wrestlers. There's just so much talent, and there's probably a lot of talent that we don't get to see, you know, the up-and-coming guys, the trainees that are up north, you know, that we don't get to see that often, or at all. You know, but, yeah, definitely Paul Robinson, 100%. I think he's one of my favourites to watch. So, yeah, I definitely would have Paul Robinson on the roster. Jimmy Abbott, obviously, is very good at what he does and will have a good match with anyone. Will Ospreay, probably the best flippy flopper in the world right now. It's the list of British wrestling talent is just immense right now, and that's clear. That can be seen by the very fact that WWE, or more specifically NXT, is just dipping its big hands into our pool and grabbing all our fish and putting them in their tank.
Yeah.
They know that the best wrestling talent in the world comes from Great Britain. You know, you've got some fantastic foreigners. Bad Bones, the German, he is amazing. Every match other than the one he had with Ken Anderson, and that's not his fault, it's Ken Anderson being shit. Yeah. But Bad Bones will have, oh, and there was JTG as well, just to average. But Bad Bones still got the best he could out of those two pieces. Like, well, JTG I don't think's as bad as Anderson, but he got a good match out of them. But Bad Bones and Mastiff was one of the best matches I've seen in a long, long time. Just really good. Tommaso Ciampa and again Dave Mastiff. They were a common thing here. Dave Mastiff for me is one of my favourites to watch. I love a good big man wrestler when they're really good at like the whole deal. You know, they're not just like a 4-move deal because they're big and they're fat. You know, and Dave Mastiff for me, I would definitely have him on that list, the top 10, because every match I see Mastiff in, I enjoy. He's definitely one of my favourites to watch, and you know, I could see him in there against anyone. And funnily enough, Zach and Mastiff, IPW Super 8, it was a great little match. It wasn't the main event, but it was a great match. It was Zach, you can't go wrong with Zach. You could probably take a paper plate and Zach would give you an amazing match. Yeah, it's tricky, mate, to narrow it down. I mean, you got your London Riots, and I say going about the foreigners as well. Sumerian Death Squad, Tommy End and Michael Dante, fantastic tag team. Tommaso Ciampa, foreigner, he's not, he's American, but he's a Sicilian, whatever you wanna, however you wanna look at him. But you know, he's amazing. But they picked him up, now, wouldn't they? NXT. Not just that, the female talent in this country. And you see WWE's picked up quite a few of our female talents. And it's like the latest one's Nikki Storm, and I've said since the first time I saw Nikki Storm, I went, yeah, she's got it, she's good.
Yeah, same here.
From that very first time I went, yeah, she's probably one of the best women in the country.
Yeah.
You know, and she's there now. They've picked her up, so it shows that I was right. I know when I see talent, I know talent. I can tell you, but I can see potential. I can see different levels. I can go, that guy's got something. What it is, whether he can develop that into something bigger and better, but there's something there. You know, but like Zach, I saw him once when he's fucking good. And I went, yeah. And I knew that about Zach. One match, it's all it took. Same with Nicky Stone, same with a few other people, you know, at one match. You go, yeah. Who would you say is your favourite British wrestler to watch?
Fuck off. I don't know. I really like Will. Will Ospreay. I really like Will.
Yeah. Very creative, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's not just... I mean, don't get me wrong, the flippy flopping stuff is fucking amazing, but he can wrestle as well.
Yeah.
And he's the way he carries himself. You know, it's real. I know it sounds strange, but and you feel his emotions when you watch him live. Do you know what I mean?
He makes you believe.
Yeah. Like what he's doing, he fucking loves and cares about. I know, obviously, like wrestlers do, like otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. But some wrestlers you just watch and there's no real emotion there. It's just like they're going through the motions. But with Will, it's like, I don't know. I'll get that with a lot of wrestlers, but if you're talking about all round, then Will is probably my favourite. And Paul Robinson as well. I got to say Paul Robinson as well, because that guy is freaking class.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
If he was, not that it matters to me, you know, it's WWE's perspective. If he was like 2 foot taller and 50 pounds heavier, he'd make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to the fella at all, because he is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and he has got all the talent in the world to be something.
Yeah. But WWE would not use him the right way. It's like you say, it's WWE's perspective. He's too small for WWE. They would just use him as someone's little sidekick who got squashed all the time, probably.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's not right for Paul Robinson. Paul Robinson is a boss.
Yes, absolutely. And without a doubt, a future Progress champion. Without any question in my mind, that man will have that belt one day.
And so he should. And so he should.
That's a belt that means something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that championship means something. That's been treated with respect. And it's been carried very, very well.
You went from Jimmy Havoc to Will Ospreay. I don't know who had it before that. No, he was the first champion, wasn't he, Jimmy?
No. Nathan Cruz was first champion, I think.
What, and then Jimmy?
No, so I think a few people have had it. I can't remember now. I think the Guerreros had it as well.
Oh, that's my bad. I've only been watching Progress for like... well... not as much as you and Bert, but fuck it.
Well, it's Endeavour on Sunday. So it should be good. And so at the Progress, well, it started off as their trainee show, but it's not so much of a trainee show now. They've got a few like names on it. They do the potential shows now, which is their trainee shows. But I mean, that's just, Progress is definitely one of the best places for wrestling. They look for a certain quality and a certain level, you know. But there's a lot of good British wrestling companies out there. There are still some pretty shit companies out there, you know.
Absolutely.
But you're always gonna have some shitters. They're just gonna be there. It's, as long as they're paying the guys, it's alright, you know, because it's somewhere else for them to work. But if they're not paying them, it's a bit, well, that's just wrong anyway, you know.
Yeah, of course it is. Don't matter what level it is.
But without a doubt, right now, British wrestling is the best in the world, and, you know, British wrestlers are the best in the world. And if enough people, or someone with enough money, decided to take the entire British wrestling industry and create one giant promotion out of it, WWE would be in serious shit.
Yeah, you'd need like a millionaire to invest in something like that, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. I'm saying someone with serious amounts of dough.
Yeah.
But people with serious amounts of dough ain't really interested in getting in the wrestling business. You know, like Ted Turner did, but he knew fuck all about wrestling, and that's why it ended up the way it did.
Yep.
You know, you would need someone within the wrestling business with a lot of fucking money, you know, to be able to do it in the first place. But that's basically what NXT is, mate. It robs all the top talent from around the world, so nowhere else can compete with WWE. That's just basically somewhere that go, oh, there's a talented wrestler there, let's take him, we'll keep him so they can't use him, and we'll make as much money as we can out of him. If we're to make a star out of him, we will. Like they've done pretty well with Prince Devitt, or Finn Balor, if you want to call him that these days.
No, he'll always be Prince Devitt to me.
So this has been the PSDOVITO podcast number 5. We've talked about randomish subjects, mostly wrestling, but no particular focus. A little bit about computer games there, mainly again wrestling game. But that's what we're going to talk about, is games, wrestling, movies, mostly. So be sure to check out YTWE18+, the YouTube channel. In November we will be relaunching with WWE 2K16, and we will be getting rid of the shit and bringing in some new roster members. Our next podcast will be next week, obviously, so we're doing them one a week. So come back, leave some comments. We'll get back to the comments in the following podcast. You know, if we get enough comments about a certain thing, maybe we'll just do an entire podcast dedicated to comments. But, so come back, hit subscribe, like, do whatever it is you do to make these things go well. And this has been PSDOVITO, and that is Robert Rage.
Oh, I didn't crash and burn.
Should I stay or should I go? You send sugars on my spine. You